Hello, and welcome to Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron. Sunday School lesson for Sunday, September the 17th, 2023. Our reference material for the Sunday School Summary is based on the International Sunday School Lesson Series as published by the Sunday School Publishing Board. We are discussing God's Law is Love as the title of the fall lesson series, and it discusses the role of God's law as it relates to faith in Jesus Christ. The God's Law is Love lesson series is categorized into 3 units or groups of lessons, and we are in Unit 1, and we are talking about love completes, law falls short. The title of our third lesson in the Unit 1 Fall 2023 lesson series is titled Trustworthy. Who is trustworthy? And why are they trustworthy? What is the source of their trustworthiness? Is it based upon their truth, or is it based upon their self-interest? Our key verse comes from John chapter 7, verse 18, and it reads, "Whoever speaks on their own does so to gain personal glory. But he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is a man of truth. There's nothing false about him." So we should look at the motives. Are they speaking for themselves, or are they speaking to the glory of God? The title of today's lesson, Trustworthiness, from the book of John. And in today's lesson, we are discussing the lead up to Jesus's entry into Jerusalem. Now, we know that Jesus experienced his ministry of healing, and he attracted large crowds along the way as he healed people and performed miracles. And this following led to hostility with the Pharisees to both his message and his ministry. And Jesus went to Jerusalem to celebrate the Feast of the Tabernacle based on the encouragement of his brothers. And while he was there, he went to the temple to teach, which brings us to today's lesson. There are 3 summary lesson points for today. Trustworthiness. What is the source of that trustworthiness? And that's from John chapter 7, verses 14 through 17. Trustworthiness, its motivation, from John chapter 7, verses 18 through 20. And trustworthiness, its evidence, from John 7 and 21 through 24. So trustworthiness, what is the source? What is the motivation, and what is the evidence that establishes it as being trustworthy? The passages for the lesson today revolve around the key words of faith, Pharisees, and judge. And we know that faith is the complete trust, assurance, belief, or confidence in God. And in today's lesson, the source of Jesus' teaching in the temple is his complete trust and faith in God, speaking for God. Pharisees, the group of Jews who went to a special school to learn God's laws. They interpreted and professed to obey all God's rules, but they added many of their own rules. And in today's lesson, Jesus responds to the Pharisees' charge of violating the Sabbath by healing the lame man. Judge is to decide about something, to say who is right and who is wrong in a court of law. In today's lesson is to make decisions correctly and righteous and not based on appearance in today's lesson. Our first summary point is trustworthiness, its source, and that's from John chapter 7, verses 14 through 17. In these passages, Jesus teaches at the festival and acknowledges God as the source of the truth that he speaks. So that is the source of his speech is from God. He is speaking as a reflection and through God's words. And it says not until halfway through the festival did Jesus even go into the temple. He had some apprehensions about going to Jerusalem in the first place due to the threats on his life. And as Jesus was teaching, the Jews were amazed, and they asked, how did he obtain this knowledge without having been taught? He has not gone to any of the fanciest schools. And Jesus answered and said that his teachings were not his own, that it comes from the one who sent him. So Jesus is only a spokesperson for God. It does not come from him. And lastly, Jesus says that anyone who opposes to do the will of God, or anyone who chooses to do the will of God, will find out if his teachings are true or whether they are those of his own. Second summary point is trustworthiness. It's motivation. So what is motivating behind the speech? And in these passages, Jesus says, assess what is the motive of one who is speaking. Is he speaking for the glory of God or for the glory of themselves? And he says, whoever speaks on their own, they do it to gain personal glory. But he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is a man of truth, and there is nothing false about him. So when people put themselves in the position, are they seeking truth and righteousness, or are they seeking glorification of themselves? And that will reveal whether or not you should follow those people. And he says, these people said that you are not even following the law of Moses. And Moses gave you the law, and you do not keep the law. So why are you trying to kill me? But the people did not know of the plot, so they assumed that Jesus was demon-possessed or crazy. He says, who is trying to kill you? Trustworthiness, the evidence. And here Jesus lays his case out, and that's from John chapter 7, verses 21 through 24. And in these passages, Jesus says that we are to judge truthfully and not to jump to conclusions. Jesus said to them, I did one miracle and you're all amazed. He says, but Moses gave you circumcision. Though actually it did not come from Moses, but from the patriarchs, meaning it was before Moses. And he says that they circumcise babies on the Sabbath day. And he says, now if a boy can be circumcised on the Sabbath so that the law of Moses may not be broken, why are you angry with me for healing a body on the Sabbath? So Jesus is saying he is performing a health benefit, whereas the circumcision is a ritual. So Jesus is saying that there is always time to do good, even on the Sabbath day. And Jesus goes on to say that they should stop judging by mere appearances, but instead judge correctly or judge based upon righteousness. And in other words, we are not to make or jump to conclusions. We are to make informed decisions that reflect the will of God in any given situation, as well as in our own lives. This is Brother Ron with the Sunday School Summary for Sunday, September the 17th, 2023. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed week, and we hope to see you next Sunday for another edition of Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron.